my throat chakra. Hello. This is, although these messages and these ESP circle classes are timeless, this is my second week hosting this divinely led, divinely guided. Ooh, hold on. Okay, so yeah, I had tried, I almost forgot. I don't know how clearly you heard me before. I remembered that I am supposed to be wearing this. I'm trying this mic out. Ooh. Snap, crackle, and pop. Okay. Palo Santos here. Can I get a grand rising? So, for those of you that are tuning in now to this live premiere, hi. This is previously recorded just a couple of hours prior to the live premiere. But I, Enchantress Bobble, that's me, on this evolutionary, revolutionary rise, 7 uprise at this time, reporting for duty, Your Highness. Right? What was I saying? Welcome! Spirit has me here, divinely led, divinely guided, divinely protected, to create this weekly opportunity for you to connect with me live as a premiere, even though it's previously recorded. I am here. I am in the chat room. I am in the live chat. Okay? So I am here for you. And, at first when I started to do this, I do things not traditionally in the same way that most people do things or create things. And, I'm learning too. I'm forever a student. So even if I come here and I appear to teach or spread knowledge or entertain for your entertain, however it is that you want to receive this, whatever brings you to church, okay, right, whatever brings you. That's not my duty, position, or business to get what brings you here. My position here is to be here as I am here, right? But note that I'm not exempt from learning in the same degrees, calibers, or ways that I might share or say or help you to visualize, right? Because that's what I do. I am a muse, right? Time spent with me, you're going to feel inspired, you see, to whatever leveling of degree of alchemy that you are on. Again, that's not my job to tell you where you need to be on in your journey. So wherever you are on, whenever you are on, here is my duty, as I'm divinely led, guided, and protected, to now feel aligned, alchemized, confident to create, right? Because that has been the long debate or stagnation or procrastination. That's something that I've been called to do a mighty long time ago too, but we have to go through our own processes and experiences in order to have the opportunity to evolve. It's just because, right? Like one of my favorite little sayings. I have a lot, so you'll be learning a lot of those too, and hearing a lot of those. And I might repeat a few for different scenarios too. So take it how it resonates for you. But you could bring a horse to water, but that doesn't mean he's gonna drink it, right? So it's like you can learn as much as you want to learn. It doesn't mean you're gonna apply the knowledge. So that's what this ESP circle is all about. I'm always gonna do a little mini freestyle intro. I do everything freestyle. that has been my battle with spirit. You know, we come from a conditioned way of being that says, this is the way. That's how you have to do it. It's like this. This has proven methods of case studies of time cycled into whatever to create the database of study that one can be able to say they understand or can see, right? So they can formulate theories and play around with many variables of things and create and be the scientist, like, of many things, right? When you have knowledge in your hand, knowledge is power, right? Knowledge is power, but knowledge can only be applied by some other energetic force that takes the knowledge and transforms it into something, if that makes sense. Hi, welcome. This is your evolutionary, revolutionary, awesome time with me that you get to spend with me every Sunday until it's not. Right? So take it as you can now, because I am flighty and I be out, and when I advance or get into my own other different levels of stuff, I just be out and I don't think twice about anything else from behind. Okay, that's the human in me being real honest with you about how I operate too, which is very interesting because that has been my battle about, you know, articulations and presentations. Don't mind this green screen back there, but there's something I just don't want you to see. And that's it. So I typically don't, like, I'm not here to sell you a, like, I don't know, sell you anything. Although you can participate in the 10:10 p.m. edition of this, which is the applying whatever is discussed here, right? So AM classes, just so that you can know if you're new here or you're going to start getting used to being here. And either way, I'm just going to babble the way that I tend to do, with no apologies for how I articulate things. It's either you vibe it or don't, you grasp it or you don't. But guess what? I'm in the chat room live here with you. So that's the beauty of all this too, that Spirit allowed me to see after I took the leap of faith and just stood, and just took that leap and started this ESP circle class every Sunday since last week, knowing damn well that I didn't prepare even last week up until the last month-edging moment of, and it wasn't even about not preparing, it was that I had to face my own shadow, right, of doing it, right? Just doing it, right? So that's what I'm here to help you also do. That's for the PM class though. So the PM class is also an hour or so. I go longer. We all know this, like, you know, but I'm at least saying that the minimal time ever being spent with me, depending on whatever's going on or around, should be no less than 45 minutes enough, right? So in the PM after party, there's no, it depends on my schedule. But PM after party is late at night, right? Wait a minute. You know, I got things to do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, like, it all depends on how everything flows and goes, but it has a direction, purpose, intention. And so I'm also evolving with you as I present to you whatever is divinely inspired for me to present, right? Granted, be, right? You're going to take within and use it however you are receiving, right? That's for you, right? But for me, what's happening here is this is also developing my growth of creating something that, letting go of expectancy, right? Of whatever it is, because I'm following divine lead, right? Understanding my position here. Understanding why I am here doing this. And that is my truth. Everything else is smokes and mirrors, right? So here I am showing up in my truth. And that's all I gotta do. Woosah! And the weight has been lifted. So that's how we roll when we gifted, right? And you're gifted, especially if you're here trying to be uplifted and get into the swing of things even more so. Like, hello. Hello. Right? If you are drawn to my eccentricities and my gigglies, and even if you're drawn to it and are annoyed by it, because I get those miserable folk that projectile vomit my joy and can't stand to be around it. Bye! Right? Why sit there and be hurt by that? Because you are you, or even sit there and waste energy or time trying to understand a miserable folk that has to evolve and grab themselves by the throat and get through certain things that they need to get through. And if you know that in truth, because that's the truth, that's just the truth, it's not personal, it's not an attack to you or anything like that, anything that anyone projectile vomits onto you, even if they are intentionally after you. And yes, there is spiritual warfare, we're going to talk about all of that kind of stuff too. But if you were a part of last week, or you got to watch it later on at a different time, I hope you did, like, whatever the case may be. And if you have not, then I'll link it, right, eventually, because you know how I roll. I go at my own divine space and time. So if there is information ever missing in the description, right, feel free to fill it in if you feel like, right? But never demand from me to fill that in, because I'll get to it when I motherfucking get to it. And if information is missing, or you're looking for any other kind of information, go to a previous post that has everything, because I eventually get to that too. One guidance team, running the team, and I'm not trying to sell you anything. Is what I was saying before. It is what it is. I am who I am. Right? So it is what it is, and this is who they sent to articulate macro concepts of evolution in micro manageable parts by a babbler. Yeah, so welcome everybody. Grand Rising, Grand Rising. If you are here in the live premiere, say hi in the live chat, right? Because of you and our energy connecting, the more you and I get to continuously, gloriously evolve, right? Supporting one another in the way that we can, learning our boundaries and drawing our boundary line in the sand. That's why I am advised to share a little bit about these live premieres happening now and why it's the most wisest of routes for me to take in going about this way and being live during the evening one, because it's different, right? So, and also, tuning in with me, I'm very, you'll see, because there's so many things that make up one little thing, right? We're just a drip of a drip of a drop of a drip of a drip of a drop in an ocean of a drip of a drop of an ocean. We are the ocean. What? But I'm just a drip of a drop of the ocean, but a drop of the drip of the ocean, but the ocean itself? Holy shit. That's a lot of drips of a drops to get through, okay? So, I take the ocean, which is the macro, right? And in my solutionist energetic waves. Find the creative articulate to break down macro, which is for empaths especially, and especially if you're just diving into your empathic quality and starting to understand that it's still not grasping the macro part of being an empath, because it's macro. Right? It's macro. It's so fucking macro. It's micro. It is micromanageable. Right? How many of you say you have anxiety or suffer from anxiety? What if I told you that that's bullshit? Yo, I've been fought verbally, not fought, but tooth and nail, because I've created anxiety for people with anxiety by telling them that they don't really have anxiety. Well, how can you tell me that when I'm having these episodes, right? So they're all telling me they're symptomatics. They're symptoms of what they have been diagnosed as called as anxiety based off of these physicalities and reactions with their body, right? Chemical reactions, right? Ricocheting off that they understand to be labeled as anxiety. So how can you say that anxiety is not real? Right? It's perception, for real, with a lot of things in terms of handling any kind of overwhelm or ordeal, right? So let's breathe. I'm a huge advocate on the chi of life. Like, I am a big advocate on breath, stretch, and movement. So tuning in with me, you're gonna get a lot of that too, not just creativity, which is, probably the heavy Pisces in my chart. But that's another thing that I was saying, leading off. Tuning in with me, I'm gonna help you understand better your personal elements that you're working with on a very holistic scale. Because if many of you follow or watch any of my other videos too, you know that I'm big on, I don't hold anything as law, although I understand my position in its construct, right? We'll talk about things like this, like deeper. It's like a breathe. It's a lot, okay? So it's always best to attend Sundays with me with pen and paper, okay? Write it down. And remember, this is pre-recorded. I am in the audience with you, probably like armpits sweaty and by myself, right? In my room, prepared and ready to be engaging and chatty with each and every one of you, right? Sweating in my own inner anxiety profusely because I have to watch myself back with an audience. Like, oh my God, Spirit, what you got me doing? Right? So, part of what I'm advised is to share with you as an empath, because many of you here that will tune in either now or even later are going to either learn or develop or know that you are an empath, an intuitive empath most likely, because if you're really truly tuning in with me, you are tapped in. Whether you're conscious of it fully or not, and I'm going to help you with that too, okay? I help you break the macro, which is so much, right? It's overwhelming. Yeah, right? We get overwhelmed. Maduro hates when I bring that. My overwhelm is more stage theatrics now. That it's not overwhelm. It's just that I'm theatrical. I'll say I'll credit that to just a lot of my flamboyant signs in my chart, right, that are out there, right, and mixing, commingling with one another, just creating this flare of dramatics and just, cinematics and theatrics, because I'm an entertainer. And I'm only sharing with you the levels of entertainment that I entertain myself with. Truth of the matter is, this is how I behave when no one's around. Talk about nerve-wracking, right? So, either way, I'm sure you're gonna have a lot of questions about anxiety now that I mentioned anxiety and I just shuffled by it, because this Sunday is not gonna be about anxiety. I do have actually a theme topic in mind because I'm excited about it too, because it's a question from one of you, which brings me back to what I was going to say, in a kind of way, of the engagement that I wish each of you participate whenever you do chime in, tune in. I don't give a fudge if you see this video it says 5 years ago it was posted. If you got a question, ask. You never know who's listening, who will respond, and how Spirit leads you in this divine orchestrated way to your alchemy even more, mastering it beautifully, right? So, great. Breathe. So, I guess every week a little bit I'll talk a little bit more about me, getting to know, because I don't want to assume that everyone just knows me, because there are people that are tuning in that grew up, we went to school together or something. So not that you know me either, like, but you know of me, or have seen my growth, even if it's in a detached kind of way, like, or just to know of, like, we know of each other, like, it's just the way that it fucking is, like, in life, right? So I'm holding this like I'm holding like, what am I holding here, guys? We are creatures of habit. Right? So I'm not talking about any of that kind of stuff. But anyways, so in just a little bit that I've just tried to introduce without even getting into anything of what the topic is even about, I've said babbles a lot, right? But there is a lot of remedy within everything that cycles from within me, divinely led, guided, and protected. I truly flow, dynamic, freestyle. It's part of my channeling system. Like, it's my tune in, tap in, surrender to whatever the fudge all of this is, right? And just understanding that through my own personal experience and development, I have case studies too, right? And so, having been woke since birth, since womb, I have been my own mini scientist, carefully observing the human population and including my own experiences to process, dissect, understand, overstand. And I get why now. It's because of this and so much more. But either way, I'm here, right, to help you understand. Someone commented on one of my YouTube videos the other day that they are, awake and understand a lot of things that I'm saying, and also get lost sometimes with some of the things that I say. Thankful I am for even them sharing that leveling of comfort to publicly respond in such a way that makes them vulnerable, right? Which is why a lot of you don't participate, because you're not comfortable in yourself, or position, or stance, or question, or whatever, right? I'm not calling anybody out, and I'm not judging anyone either. I'm that's what you're gonna get with me all the time, is real. It's just real. It's very That's why I'm always trying to encourage, and because I understand. My pride used to not let me do a lot of shit. I get it why now too, and I don't, we should never live in regret or anything like that, but I get my position. So that's what I'm here to help you to also evolve in understanding your position, because when you do, external things become easier to deal with without fucking up your own alchemy. Trust. People will try. Trust. You'll still have to go through shit. But trust. There's no position like peace when you find it in your truth. And that's a motherfucking stance that no motherfucker, no matter how hard they come at you, can knock you off your shit. Don't mean they won't try. Doesn't mean they won't try. Okay? You like that Bruce Willis movie, Unbreakable, right? Right. So it's powerful. Your energy of power, of how you feel in regards to yourself and your position, will only grow the more you get to know you, which is where many of you are now, getting to know yourself, whether it be through force, some fucked up shit happening in life that's forcing you to isolate, hermit mode, and be like, whoa, back up, or maybe it's just a shitload of life coming at you full force all the motherfucking time, and you're just like, get back, no more, we done with that. Or the shadow shell of yourself existing for others as opposed to yourself, and now waking up to the sense of yourself and feeling a little bit depleted and tired and drained because you're waking up to the succubi energy that you have entertained for so long. And so now empowerment needs to be harnessed and reigned for you, right? Whatever your frigid position. It's different levels, different doubles. Either way, we gotta go through all the motherfucking stages. I was joking with my friend the other day, saying Saturn's been in my houses for motherfucking years now, because if you know your elements and you know your placements astrologically, right, then you can understand what the fuck is going on when you tap in to the universal energies that are influencing our energetic environment. It's not so much that you believe in astrology or not, right, when you have naysayers and people skeptics and all that kind of stuff. It's just, it doesn't freaking matter, because regardless of what, the science of the fact is that whether you believe in astrology or not, and its universal like depictions and storylines, it is so far embedded into our energetic ethers that it does exist. And because it does influence. Because when you do tap in, whether you believe in it or not, and just really just with a sensible mind to just articulate what you are learning or reading about what's going on in the transits, right? And then you're like, wow, that really does kind of like apply. Say it, right? Don't be so stubborn. Shit applies even if you understand it or not. So the best place that you can be in anything in your evolution is powerful in your own damn truth, right? And letting go of all that doesn't serve that. That means people, places, things, memories, lifestyles, behaviors, patterns, conditionings, thoughts, a whole bunch of shit. So that's the micromanaging part, right? So whatever is discussed in the AM, we're going to highlight in the PM by gifting creative solutions, applications, rituals, magic, okay? But through truth, okay? And the more you participate and engage, the more your truth shall set you free. And that's just the reality. And again, my role, job, position here at this moment in time is not to be the one that gets you into that kind of a line. That's something you gotta do for yourself. Even this now for my Evolve Into It coaching platform, right? For the PM classes, all my private personal clients that I work with on a regular basis, they all have free access to the PM, and so do all the Evolve Into It coaching members, right? Real VIPs, right? And one of the biggest challenges for many of them, right, is doing the damn coaching platform that is an email subscription that is very useful and good for what they need, but it's about applying the practices, the rituals, the knowledge, right? Because what you're doing is unlearning what you've learned already, and in order, you just can't unlearn something intellectually. And that's it. You got it. You good. If you do, that's great. But I'm going to go with the case studies of just life and observation of the human population. And I'm going to say 99.9% of the population, right? In regards to anything like that. Hold on one second. This is driving. Sorry, my dog is acting weird. I need to say he's drowning under the blankets. But no, he's back. You just have to lose a lot of things too, and it's not meaning that you let go of a lot of things, because that's the misconception. But either way, what I was saying was that 99.9% of the population, based off of just observation, and that's just the way that it is, and I don't care, right, is that you have to do something more. You have to apply some, right? So here we go. I'm gonna explain it better, right? Okay, thank you, Spirit, right? Okay. Right. Okay. I'm gonna try my best. This is what they sent the babblers to do, right? Like, we're learning, we're growing. I'm learning to not just articulate it for myself. You understand? I'm sharing what I receive, and so the way that I receive downloads and a lot of information and things, it's a lot. It's like, imagine putting in a memory card or something, right, like into the computer, and you get a download of a whole bunch of files all at once, right? And you are the one that goes into each single file to pick apart which document and stuff like that you want to retrieve. But the computer itself receives the entire download all at once, something like that, right? Okay, so if you can't change the reality of something, then the route or the route to take, right, would be to change your perception, to change the way you think of it. If you can't change the reality of something, then find what you can that's going to help shift your perception, right? So, shift. That's the key word, right? So dry. Shift is the key word here. So, a shift can happen at any time. Shifts happen for us always. We can equate a shift to an epiphany. When you have that, that's a shift, right? And that can show itself, right? Because a shift is macro, because it could be about so many different things, right? Because there's so many things that shifts can occur on, right? And the fact that we are so multidimensional, chances are that whenever we receive a shift, right, of consciousness, we are receiving a shift on so many multiple multi-dimensional. It's really, guys, I want you to understand. Okay, it is 5:33 a.m. Okay. Yeah. Alright, so right, so it's multi-dimensional in the way that you receive a shift. It shifts so many things. Because you have this epiphany or shift, right? Of just something sinks in, you get it, right? It's just like, and it's like evolution, right? Because it's evolution. Just because you have a shift doesn't mean anything will change or transform. Because with every shift comes now your opportunity to take action on that shift. And so, if you take no action, how do you ever expect a shift to transform your life? Right. So, we're going to talk about those things too. Hold on. Hi. I'm back after a little bit of time later, but whatever. So, I don't want to lose sight and focus of what this ESP circle is all about. It's growing your discipline. It's further enhancing and applying your knowledge, right? Practically. It's having support in an energetic way that is not asking you for shit. You understand? Right? Many of you that come in and are here, or that will tune in eventually, whenever it is that you come in through here, you've been used, right? So much so in life. For whatever. Your energy. Whatever shape and form. Right? And so you're in a different plateau of a space, of a place in your existence that it's enough is enough. So depending on whatever leveling of placement you are on, right? Everybody's different. I'm advised to share with you my experience as an empath and how I have been drained and sucked dry, and I have been helping people my entire life, but it's different for me in certain kind of aspects that I'm not going to get into because it's irrelevant. But why this premiere live is excellent for someone like me to be able to set out to do what I am divinely led, guided, and protected to do without any energetic interference or challenge for me due to my empathic ways, especially when I'm live. And so because I'm being guided to deliver informational stuff, this is not like my typical YouTube videos where, you know, I'm babbling or channeling or doing cards and stuff. This is serving a specific purpose. It's here to help you. I'm here every Sunday to help you further evolve your spiritual rituals and practices practically, offering you support, guidance, insight, right? Every single week in a different kind of way, helping you break down macro concepts into micro manageable parts, and just further engaging with you in a supportive kind of, you know, evolutionary way, since all of you seek me for that in different kind of ways. I've even had to have the challenge of people seeking me for all of this, and when I provide all of this, to still seek me for more when I just posted something about what you're seeking me for. Can you please go check the video? I have a very busy schedule ahead of me, especially if you just want to suck you by my energy, right? No, thank you. right? Taking a stance for yourself, boundary drawn, taking care of you. So as an empath, because I am in alignment with my truth of what I'm here to do and how, and understanding my position, my path, and my worth and my value, and honoring myself first, I'm able to do so much more. I realize that now. I was helping and helping and helping always when I wasn't in a position to be helping. But it was a lesson to be learned too, because I still was helping, and I was also helping, but I was also part of the path. But either way, I'm just saying, like, now it was like, okay, how do I assist without draining or overly doing too much? Even just like that martyr kind of effect of energy of freaking, what's that called? It's very early in the morning, guys, okay? Archetypes. All these energetic archetypes that are in our ethers, that if you tap into an energy that matches a certain archetype, you can get sucked into the cesspool of energy that is dominating in that energetic field, and before you know it, be caught up. Okay, so I took notes, right, so that I can keep in alignment with what this is all about, because I am already, I don't know, because I pause a lot and stop a lot. I don't know how long this is, and I know that people's attention spans are not like long, right? Especially when it comes to this, you get that codex there, right? Like, so there's few troopers that actually stick through from beginning to motherfudging end, or even if you can't stick to motherfudging from beginning to end, you come back to finish. Because sometimes I'm like that too. I have a very busy schedule, so I be all over the place. And some of the YouTubers that I enjoy and I like to watch their channels, I can't sometimes hear it in totality, like, you know what I mean? So I hear it in parts, because, in between on drive, or, whatever the case may be, and whenever I go to bed or something like that, like, I try to catch up, like, to the things that I'm pulled to or drawn to, we all are building our own spiritual family and support system, right? Like, you're not alone. Some of you that'll tap in or tune in later struggle with support in that kind of way. You feel unsupported, and so now you're being a little hard ass with your leveling of support. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like a one-upman. Like, we're not doing that. Like, we're just gonna grow and evolve from this whole position that we're all in, and understand ourselves better, so that we can understand a lot of the shit that's going on here, right? So anyway, so ESP Circle, evolving our spiritual practices by further enhancing our knowledge and understanding, okay? Understanding of our own spiritual rituals equates to truth. Okay, so that's another thing, right? So how can you discipline a spiritual ritual if you don't know your truth? You know what I'm saying? So learning your truth is always going to be powerful for you, because in that truth you get to now execute in alignment your truth and create the reality that is for you. So if you don't know where your truth is under a position, this is like, sometimes people could be raised, let's say, Christian or Catholic, and then develop a Wiccan, spirituality. Let's just say, like, whatever. And it goes against, their upbringing and all this kind of stuff, like, and so the battle for them is what is their spiritual truth, right? Because sometimes we want to be appeasing to those around us, because we don't want to be outcasted, or again made to feel alone, or whatever, or misunderstood, or not understood, or not accepted, or whatever the case may be. But what is our truth? And that should be the position of power that you hone in and focus on, because everything else is smoke and mirrors and someone else's energy of influence dictating for you. You get what I'm saying? Like, right? So when you get to the bottom of your truth, right? How do you know truth? There are no questions. How do you know truth? Because there will be no question, right? If you have a question mark about something, it's because something is missing, right? You're not sure. It's not my truth. So then learn your truth, right? Because it will resonate, right? That's going to be your root. And only in this truth are we better able to handle external energies, experiences, and challenges. It's the only way. Without personalizing it or becoming a victim of whatever the fudge is going on externally from our lives, right? Like, in order to be able to handle the external energies that want to come and throw fuck shit your way, in my truth, you can try to sway me your way to react, right? Which is going to get us to the topic of this, and and then hopefully you'll tune in with me tonight. And if you do want to join and you're not part of the Evolve Into It coaching platform where you get it for free or a personal private client with me, it's only $11.11. And all the information will be in the description box for you to join, and you will have access, and I will send you all the information as to the private location that is not publicly shared, and for you to be able to be a part of the after party where we will take all this information every single week, everything that we talk about in the morning, right, a.m., right, and apply it now in the p.m. That's why it's a party. So that's why I can do that live. So that's the difference also too, just like to understand, because I understand and know my truth. See, I get distracted in my empathic ways, especially if I have to deliver something. This is like taking center stage. This is like giving a speech, right? And having the audience there in front of you. If I do this live, because I'm not fully comfortable or knowing my truth, right? Like, I get distracted very easily. I'm very sensitive, especially right now. Like, with all like the fasting I do and all the, like, the more you evolve and tap in, the more you're like, if you think you're sensitive now, hey Susan, right? So it's different when you're in your truth. It doesn't mean funky stuff won't happen. Doesn't mean people still won't test or try. But the more you get in your stance, your truth, your position, and your acceptance of your position, stance, and truth, and knowing that and making that your root cause, then it would be much more less challenging for you to separate yourself from the personalization of whatever the fudge is happening all around you, realizing that we are each on separate paths and journeys and positions, and we are each a product of some kind of environment. And most people, especially if they're not awake, act in accordance to their conditioning. Are they even thinking for themselves? I question that a lot, right? When I ever have to interact with one. Do you ever? But we've been trapped before, so we can relate in this 3D realm, right? Abusive relationships, abusive upbringings, certain things that you had to stay in or you felt trapped in and there was no way out, right? But think about that. During those times, your insides whether they were numb or whether they were active and alive, you were not okay. Some of these people are okay. Asleep. And that's a part that is very, it can be challenging when you realize whom that applies to. Right? Sometimes you're like, really? Right? So when you get to the bottom of your truth, it will resonate. Right? And only then are you better able to handle external energies, experiences, and challenges without self-sabotaging, without losing sight of your purpose, intention, things, right? Without suffering, without worrying, without experiencing stress and anxiety, or repeating the same cycle of behavioral patterns and conditionings that you're used to or accustomed to, because that's usually the fallback thing. And that goes back to what I was saying about shifting. You can have a shift. And I always go back. Even though I babble off, okay? And that's why you guys are here too, to remind me. And that's why I just remembered I'm in the comments too, so I'm going to be asking some questions, because sometimes I guess I should be paying attention like that too, because I'm learning as well, right? Because I'm allowing flow, and sometimes, whatever, but it's different for me now in other senses, but we're not going to talk about that. But either way, like in concept, right, we're learning just macro things and we're breaking it down into micro manageable parts, right? And so what I was saying about the shift before is that you can have a shift, but if you do nothing for that shift, you're just going to kind of like what they'll say, like in religions and stuff, backslide. Like, oh, he backslid, he's not a Christian anymore, hopefully he'll be back to the congregation, or something like that, like backsliding, I think it's called. Right, so that's what this is all about. This is having the shift in the AM, like, oh yeah, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then in the PM, we applying that motherfucker holistically, holy Sunday, right? Right, so last week I mentioned I brought up macro and micro concepts, so I'm always going to address things in macro and micro concepts, because it just puts me back into my non-babbling reality. It's helpful to me to keep on reminding myself that we're doing macro and micro, because I'm so macro. Micro speaking can be challenging. Right, so we're helping finer attune ourselves with divine alchemy and wisdom, right? So by seeking to understand our own positions through understanding, it is in this processing that we are given the opportunity to see reality and truth for ourselves with clarity and light, right? So that we can then utilize, if we so choose, so you don't have to do anything, right? Utilize this knowledge obtained, right? Right? We can utilize it by activating it with our wisdom potential. It's wisdom potential. Because it don't mean you're going to be acting wise after getting the knowledge you receive inside. Sometimes we just repeat cycles, right? So how do you not repeat cycles? You have to change your behavior. You have to change your reaction. You have to change your response. And that requires a discipline, because you might not necessarily feel like doing that change, because the typical way you would respond is so much more easier because it's familiar. So look at that for what that is. Familiar. That don't mean it's your thing. It's just familiar to your behavior. And so you've grown accustomed to responding that way. But if you're moving consciously, and you know that your shift, you already had a shift of wisdom, of knowledge instilled into your being, and you realize that this other alternative solution of, let's say, someone wants to get you to fight with them, argue with them, and they're pushing every button, red button, blue button, purple button, pink button, like that booty button, that breast button, that mouth button, and you're just like, ooh. If you have yet to learn to communicate healthily, wealthily, stealthily for yourself, then your biggest challenge in that kind of moment is to STF you. Breathing helps with that. And it's still a challenge because if you feisty like me and you righteous in your act and you know, right? I used to say, you want me to rip you a new asshole. Right? It's just, right? Well, what do you want? So that could be the first question you ask yourself in a complex situation like that. That's what I used to ask myself. When I started learning my truth, it started helping me through my challenges. Okay? So somebody want me to pop off on them, right? And they do everything in the motherfucking book for me to clap back. Back in there would have whooped your ass, right? That kind of effect, right? Like, I don't talk, right? Right? That, like, and you're in the in-between stages, or maybe brand freaking spanking new in the process of learning to act in accordance to your alignment with wisdom, right? And so you're doing things in accordance to you, even though it could be challenging too. Like right now, someone's starting with you, right? And it's just like, do you know? Right? It's triggering you. Triggers are always unhealed versions of ourselves speaking in discord, through discord, because you trapped it inside. And the only way to be recognized is through the discord that creates it. And so it's only resurfacing to help you to feel with it, so you can deal with it, so you can heal with it. But when someone's clapping off, that ain't the time for all of that. Especially if you didn't get there yet. I'm like, come on, this person away from me. I'm in my zone. Spirit is not working, right? And it's like, I just want to, right? Because you're getting yourself triggered and enraged. That's because you don't know your truth, or you're not centered on your truth. Because if you were centered on your truth, there's no way you could be focused on all that rage, anger, injustice, or issue. Shifting. Raise the roof. You can't change the reality of something, you change your damn perception. And you work on that until that perception shifts. Because this is going to be your truth elixir, your fix. Especially when you are met with challenges that are going to test you on this. Do you understand? The moment you think you got a lesson, ding dong, the witch arrives. Saying, trigger, trigger, surprise! Let's put you to the test. Let us see if you learned your lessons best. I'm gonna push this button. I'm gonna push this button. And then someone else is calling, hey, hey, hey. And you know, whatever it is that you got working out, and you're supposed to put your boundary in the sand and all this kind of stuff and this kind of command. And now you're supposed to act in the disciplined wise way that spirit leads you to act in, and it's like, the devil's real. Dusting me for reals. Holy feels. This shit is real. Silence, please. Right? Have your go-to question ready that leads you back to your truth. For me, for example, right? It's through my own revelations, evolutions, dive, deepens. I'm not going to travel you through all of those, but there was a time that I got to a deep, multi-dimensional truth of mine. And it helps me all the time when needed, right? Although, in your consistency of building anything that is new, that might be a challenge for you or whatever the case may be, the more you're consistent, the more you're deliberate, the more that you understand, overstand, right? It's not going to be a thing for you. It's not going to be a challenge. And then there's going to be one day that you have another shift of realization, realizing the challenges you have overcome and where you're at now, because you'll be put in a situation that would trigger you in that old kind of way, and then you're met with the new you today that has been consistent all those days and forgot about it already, and then you're like, whoa, back in the day I would have whooped your ass, right? So these shifts, right, that occur are designed for you to understand your truth at that moment, right? Right. So one thing that worked for me, right, through all my own personal case studies, is learning that one thing that I truly see, and it's truth for me, is peace. I was born into a world that I never knew peace. So my truth, in many truths, right? There's more than one. So that's the discovery part of you that's going to be fun, right? Everything you discover, uncover, recover about yourself in such every multidimensional plane of powerful, empowering existence that is all you. You're gonna feel like Bruce Willis in that movie, A Motherfucking Unbreakable, the more you freaking crack open. I'm emotional, guys, but I'm from a divine place. Right? So, for me, it was peace. So, here I am. Trigger number one comes in to test me. Even if it's not to test me, it's just it exists. But we're gonna go, it's to test me. Spiritual warfare, right? And so, I'm triggered. Now, in your trigger, if you are very conscious and observant, you will see everything that comes up instantly. It's like a download. It's like the file that you put into the computer of very feeling, emotion, thought, cycle, repeat on full motherfucking blast. Amplified. Because you got an energy in front of you creating this trigger. So the catalyst, right? for emerging development in you. You can look at it like that too. Be thankful for your triggers, for their unhealed versions of yourself asking you to tend to your lawn. And sometimes it'll take a devil mofo to show you what you've missed. It's a shift of perception. I have been so conditioned in my ways that I don't even know certain things, that I'm learning them now. And so in my learning, I'm patient and kind and loving towards myself as I learn my own divine truth. Right? And so you'll be tested. It'll feel like a test. I don't like to label things and say that that's what's happening, because in itself, like, we don't. Anyways, I'm not going to go there. But what I'm saying is everybody has their own personal belief systems and thoughts as to why certain things occur. I'm not here to sell you those reasons for you to believe. What I'm here to help you do is develop your own personal understanding relationship with yourself so that you can develop the best understanding, co-creating with every single part of you, right? That is the Holy Trinity, me, myself, and I, right? Father, Son, Holy Spirit, right? Or Mother, Father, Son, Mother, Father, Child, like the dynamics of a Trinity, like a trine, right, in the sky, like this trine that we are creating within ourselves, the divine masculine, the divine feminine energies existing within our own entire beings, uniting and co-creating and coexisting amongst one another in pure delight, because heaven sent us all, right? When we can unify as within exudes on out, right? Anyways, so someone comes in, challenges me with this trigger, right? So I've already prepared for this moment of attack by learning my truth, my universal law of a truth. There's many. I'm just giving you one as an example. But the fact that there's many, I have so many to pull from in these moments that I'm challenged. Right? Because I have someone trying to bring me out of my peace into their chaos. Fuck out of here with that bullshit. So I gotta check myself really quick. It's not that I'm going to ignore this issue. It's just that this mofo is triggering me. And before I act out of pocket, when I work all wonderfully on me, I'm gonna go back to my center place real quick, right? So that I can divinely deal with this when I want to deal with this, when I'm ready to deal with this in a healthy, wealthy, stealthy way that is divinely led, divinely guided, and divinely protected. And so motivate this truth in me that I instill as I set free this reality, right? You speaketh, your lifeth into existence every single time, right? So in a moment of challenge, I ask myself, what do I want? Peace. Well, I'll be damned. Thank you for the reminder. Right? Especially if you are not creating any of the damn freaking chaos or anything that someone's trying to blow your motherfudging way or make you feel like you have to participate, right? You have people like that that'll bring their emergencies into your life and then catch you in that emotional whirlwind of theirs, and you get so sucked in that before you know it, what you were about to do for yourself, you're no longer doing. You're helping this person out of their roller coaster tsunami effect because you got taken away and drifted asunder, you know? And so there are so many things to do. right, in order to strengthen your resolve in challenging circumstances. But learning your personal truth is going to be your saving grace of power, empowerment, always. Right? Because it's powerful. It's powerful. And truth empowers you. Yes. And so, because you know that there will be attacks, and there will be people that will test you, and there will be experiences that will be challenging, right? Then you armed with your spirituality, your own evolution of that, whatever relationship you're developing, connecting with, unifying, right, with self, mind, body, heart, and soul, right, then you, hold on, forgive me for that, but while there are so many different things that you should do, not just one thing, right? Because what happens when one thing fails you should have backup and all that kind of stuff, or whatever the case may be. But the fact that you are aware in your consciousness that this is all occurring, whether you understand it fully or not, you are cloaked with divine wisdom to shift your reality by taking the steps needed to co-create in alignment, knowing your truth, what it is that you desire and want for you, right? And so that comes with time, with a lot of things, right? So there's so many things that I want to say, and I'm trying my best. I know that me watching it now in the live with you, thank you for each and every one of you that have tuned in and will tune in. And even if you tune in later and it's not the live, I'm sorry that I have to do these little commercial skits, guys, but it just comes up. Even if you tune in later and it's past the live time, please do comment and let me know, because I like to address things, and every week it will show, like, we get to tackle things little by little, hand by hand, not hand by hand, but like energetically, side by side, face on, right? Like, just dealing with shit head on as it is, right? So what was I saying? There's just so much stuff. I'll tell myself back in the comments what I was saying so that I can finish that statement of whatever it was that I was saying before I wanted to say this, because I wanted to get back into what I had wrote so that I can wrap this up. Right? So we can wrap this up. So, okay. So, one of the questions that was asked by one of you, right? Because it's going to apply to what we're talking about now, was, hold on, I wrote it down because I didn't want to mess it up, right? Was, because, like I said, everyone's in different levels, different stages of their evolutionary growth, but still it applies to being triggered, right? So they asked, like, because one of the things that I had spoke about last week, right? So we should have watched last week's thing too, is how to, in the meantime, because I have a game, we'll talk about that game or whatever in the PMs, if anything. Someone can ask me about the game and we can talk about it, like, whatever. If not, we'll talk about it eventually. Right, so it's a game I made up, and people get mad at me sometimes when they just play it, but it's a really serious game, and it takes you to play it to realize how challenging it can be in a very fundamental way. Like, you just gotta loosen up in every kind of way. But so you're applying to not being reactive to everything around you, right? So you're working on, so this person is working on not being reactive so much to the external stimuli that's coming in and trying to influence your life. So I had stated, like, during those times, right, especially now, right, But it could still be a challenge because you still haven't shifted or transmuted or found the alchemy of what's going to be the replacement of your behavioral patterns and conditionings of responses and things that you have up until this point have acted like or done, in whatever shape, way, or form. And here you are working on yourself, right? And you don't want to be so reactive. And you don't want to be that way anymore, right? And so you're putting in the practice of keeping quiet, right? So how can you, now let's say so I'm gonna give an example, so someone tries to pick a fight with you and you manage to not engage, right? You manage to keep your cool, keep your calm, speak healthy, wealthy, stealthy, in whichever way you didn't allow for your vibrational frequency to escalate, although you are feeling triggered, right? But you are putting into practice not engaging, and that involved a great big swallow from you to not engage, right? Florida. That is challenging indeed, but you did a good thing, right? By even doing that, right? So the question was, right? You do that. Now what? You still are feeling. How do you transmute? Like, what can you do? What is something you can do to not feel the trigger, even though you didn't engage in an unhealthy way with what was sent your way to fudge you up energetically in your position, right? And it's like saying someone hurting your feelings so bad, and they said some mean, horrible things, and you have every right to curse them out, let's say, even though that's not the way, but we're just saying, and you don't. You take it, you hold your composure, your dignity, and you breathe in and breathe out, and with your head held high, you leave that person to eat what they just damaged. That'll be their life lesson of whatever, right? I forgive you. If you're not there, don't worry. I'll help you without like getting into spaces that you can be instantly forgiving and be like, deuces. I forgive you. Deuces. Right? Right, so and you feel a type of way. Now what? This is the nitty-gritty. If you're in that position where you have yet to develop your go-to skills of helping you shift from challenging experiences like the one I was sharing about my peace question. Whenever I'm triggered or challenged by someone that wants to fight with me or attack or insult or hurt, like, breathe. Breathing is important. Don't fucking forget to breathe. Move. Always pop my neck. Like, I guess it's like the gangster in me, right? The ninja, right? And And if I really, like, because you're disciplined, you're disciplining, you're not going to say nothing, right? Because another question of truth of mine that I ask myself is this helpful? Is this providing solution? Is this helpful? Does this bring me peace? Right? So one of the truths that I had to get to is my helpfulness, right? Am I helpful? Do I like being helpful? Some people like being helpful, so that could be an important question. Is this helpful to any of us right now? If I clip back, if I respond or react in a way that takes me out of pocket, right? Granted. So oftentimes arguments between two parties, nobody's listening because everybody's arguing, everybody wants to be heard. So understanding so many of the different compartments that you've risen above or have helped in some way, shape, or form or degree grow in a healthier way. See, if you learn to master your communication and speaking without being so emotionally charged, filled, or taking things personally, or being attacked or defensive, and you get to communicate your truth in a way that you get to still express yourself to the person that's triggering, then by all means, that's why you've developed that skill, so that that person can hear that shit, right? In whichever shape or form. People get mad at me because I'll respond nicely, calmly, coolly. Get mad because I'm not responding nor agitated, and that's a funny thing to notice when people get upset with you because they trigger you, and then you're not agitated or you don't react out of pocket. They get more upset and they try more. That should speak already measures into just your own keen observations of what the fudge is going on here. Like, yo, I peeped that. Let me stay in my cool zone because I peeped that. So there'll be so many different facets of truths that'll surface in your silence that you allow to be conveyed, because is this helpful? Does this bring me peace? Do I have a solution? Am I acting in a way that is out of pocket for me? Do I want to? Is it worth it? Like, so having your go-to get me back to center questions are good outlets and avenues you can start with in terms of helping yourself through those kind of challenging situations, is getting to the bottom of the truth. So someone wants to come at you sideways, quick truth for you to go back to, and if you don't have the answer to that, then get the answer to that. Is, what do I want out of this? I want to go home peacefully, or I don't want this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, getting into those levelings of truth and stuff. Either way, I love the question. I love the engagement. I thank you so much for that, because we're going to discuss the practical applications to that kind of question and dive a little bit more. So, why I like being live. On the PM, guys, if you didn't tune in the last time, I'm live. And the reason I can go live on the PMs versus the AMs is because I am a hands-on kind of person, and I naturally I shake and I move, I dance and I go, do body work for a living, and I do a lot of things, like, so movement is in applied science for me. I move faster than most humans. I always say that, that's like a joke, but it's not, right? And many of you probably do too. You just move, you get shit done when that time comes. You just get into that zone, auto zone, right? Autopilot. You have the potential to really heighten that even more, like into turbo master, right? So, right. So the AM, thank you guys for joining. Is not meant to be so super long, and I know that I babble when I'm trying to condense it down into size, but it is meant to be very informational. So whether or not you joined the PM, at least you got a lot out of the AM, where it helps you shift, you know, and it's up to you to apply. It's always going to be like that, guys. So that's what the PM is all about, the application process, and having that kind of beacon of support for you, helping you to guide you based off of you. So that's why I like the intimacy of that, because it allows me to get to know each and every one of you intimately better and be able to better assist you according to you individually, while I have my line drawn in the sand, because this is the position I am offering, that I have to offer to each and every one of you, because of my experience with each and every one of you. You know, there's many, and there will be many that won't tune in, but they'll seek guidance later or now. You get what I'm saying? So it's not for everyone. It's going to be for whomever it's going to be for, whenever it is going to be for them. And I'm totally okay with my position and my role in this, to just be the messenger in that kind of way, and student in every kind of way, because that's how I roll, right? So what was I saying? There'll be a lot of that. What was I saying? So I'm glad. So with the live premiere, because I'm giving so much information, and it's a little bit more textbook, let's say, but not traditional, as an empath, that's quite challenging, because I'm receiving and channeling and downloading, and also empathically receiving, channeling, and downloading, and then also computing what I'm channeling and downloading, and then also having to deliver certain other kind of channels. It's very overwhelming to do this AM part, delivering information already in a kind of strategic, kind of non-traditional way that will be me always, right? Without feeling overwhelmed or very distracted very easily. And you know, I'm not saying that I can't master that element, and I won't, and I probably can, and I will, like, but at this moment in time, because of how it's starting out, I'm comfortable with it. So I didn't know it was going to be like that the first week. Like, I was hyperventilating till the first day of the day of March 28th. You know, imaginatively hyperventilating, because, you know, clearly it wasn't, I was working. But because the way that I was receiving how I had to do the morning 10:10 a.m. was live. And then I had my moment of surrender, and I was like, okay, fine. You want me to do it? We do it. And then shift, right? And then this all made sense. And I was like, right? Because nothing that you're supposed to be doing that's divinely guided, divinely led, and divinely protected. Know that you're divinely protected too when you are divinely led and guided, right? That is never something that's uncomfortable for you. But we're still getting to know ourselves, right? So that's the beautiful part. So I'm using these to say goodbye. I really hope that you tune in to the PM. It's 10:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My friend keeps saying I say it wrong, but it's East Coast time, 10:10 p.m. my time. Either way, if you want to participate and whatever, you receive goodies and stuff like that there from me too. I still have to give the goodies from the first week's class. I just been a little really busy, like for my Divine Tea Alchemy and a lot of other things. So you guys will receive that within this week. It'll be a mix of the goodies from this week's class and last week's, right? And those that have attended the PM lives will be receiving their very own angel message, right? So if you want that, right, I'm excited to share that with you too, and so you'll be receiving that. And the PM class will not be shared publicly. This live premiere will be shared and left public. So for those that do find it, thank you, and I hope it was very informational for you. And if there's anything that left you hanging on that you want more information on, well, then that is why we are here together to meet every Sunday. That is my Sunday at 10:10 a.m. Eastern Time, and you can contact me and connect with me beforehand. And like the question that was being posed now that we're going to carry into the PM thing by applying it in our lives, right, through our different elements of understanding live with me in a private room. Yeah, and that won't be shared. So if you're interested, I'm gonna keep messing this up. If you're interested, let me know. I would love to have you there. And even if you miss it, right? So let's say you want to be a part of it, but you can't make it for whatever the case may be. Still, it's only $11.11 purchase, and then you will have access to where that video will be for whenever you can access it. Do you know what I'm saying? And if there was something that you wanted to trust for you personally prior to that, and be there, you can let me know beforehand. So that way, it's included for you, even if you're not there. Do you know what I mean, jelly beans? And if I don't get a chance to tend to use specifically for whatever freaking reason, I don't know, I'll get to it the next week, because we are infinite beings, right? And there's no timestamp on this, and I'm never rushed, nor will I allow anyone to rush me. We got nothing but time. And time is an illusion. Time is what you make of it. I keep messing these up because they're double-sided. So these are the healing mantra deck. Okay, so these are nice, and so this card deck is from a gifted healer, an intuitive Matt Kahn, contains 52 channeled mantras that have been encoded with healing energy to realign your mind, body, heart, and soul. I love when they include all four. Like many of the times when you find stuff, they put mind, body, heart, spirit. I don't know, but they be missing some. Like whatever. With this deck, users will strengthen their connection to the universe and a remembrance of their innate wholeness and perfection. Mantras include: the light is always within me. I was born of infinite joy. I am worthy of all the pleasures my heart desires. My intuition flows whenever I am still, and more. Which brings you back to that silence factor. So imagine, you're being triggered and you choose to remain silent. You allow spirit to divinely lead, guide, and protect you. If you can't silence your mind, then repeat a simple mantra. I am divinely led. I am divinely guided. I am divinely protected. Thank you, Spirit. Oh God, or whatever it is that you connect with. Spirit connects with me because Spirit is source. Spirit is all. Right? And so, well, everybody's like, no, it's God, no, it's Jehovah, no, it's this, no, it's that. spirit. Right? There's no confusing spirit. That's it. And I'm gonna stick with that. Because anytime I said any other name trying to resonate, because you also have to find your truth in that too. What is God? Do you believe in God? Who is God to you? Is he man, girl, female, what? Like, why do you speak of God as a he? Why is this? Like, somebody learning your truths. When you get on your knees and you pray, are you really believing? Who are you praying to? Do you really believe in that? What's off about it? What's right about it? It's a lot. Uncovering confidence. I am the missing piece that completes the puzzle of the universe. Look at that. That's what's happening here. And inspiring others. I help others feel empowered by acknowledging their gifts. You are gifted. Breeding wellness. Balance is the key to a life of infinite miracles. Beautiful. So I hope that these messages and the information received and the time spent here together, I'm going to try not to make it so damn long and get more to the point. So, because to expect all of you to be here this freaking long in a live chat, I'm like, would I even be here? I don't even know, because I might have to go because I think it's 12 o'clock. So I gotta go. Alright, wait, I'm gonna pull 3. Oh my gosh. So maybe in the nighttime, okay? After party. Rise and shine, grand rising. So transforming tragedy. Loss is my reminder that more room has been made for greater gifts to be received. Encountering conflict. What we were talking about, I don't choose sides, I take a stand. Beautiful. So that even can help you out of a challenge too. I don't take sides, I take a stance. Peace is my stance. Alright, thank you so much. I gotta go. And I'm sorry that this is so long. Let me know how this resonates with you. I will be in the chats. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Make sure to come back. And tune in for the PM. It'll be hands on and I'll be really live, okay? Thank you so much.